Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and I do have the follow-up video for Venom Gyre int stacking Inquisitor. Very smart build, 1400 int in the end, even after changing off my amulet, which gave me a lot of int, thanks to a bit of a respec I went with in the end that generated me a lot more int, a lot more defense, and from the previous time you would have seen the character, it had about 7,500 energy shield. We ended up hitting 9,500 without really changing any gear, just a bit of a passive tree revamp, and I do recommend checking that out if you have been following the build a bit, or just in general if you want a few ideas on how to path through a tree like this one. Dropped a few things that just really weren't that crucial, like some attack speed, because I had plenty of it, and kind of jumped into the energy shield side of which to pick up a shitload more int and then a lot more energy shield, and it became a very well-rounded character. The Inquisitor for CI or energy shield builds just seems like such a very nice choice to have ailment immunity, so you don't need to waste any of that on your flask slots. You get a lot of regen from the Ascendancy itself, from the Consecrated Ground with Zealot's Oath, from a few passives on the tree as well, and overall the character at this point has something like 1100 passive energy shield regen, so anytime I take a hit, I will be regening 1100 ES a second, which is far better than what a life build of my usual standing would do, and that's basically like having a life flask churning all the time. As well as that, the Energy Leech and Ghost Reaver makes it so that you leech back energy shield quite quickly, and then of course Cinder Swallow is highly recommended because it essentially acts like a Vaal Pact leech, where it just boosts your leech back up to full every time. This is one of my hardest delve nodes at the moment, which is an Abyssal Depths with like 100 extra lightning damage, and those notoriously hit extremely hard for the monsters that come out of stealth and try and one-tap you. I'm taking 6-7k hits at times, but then you leech right back up to full instantly, and haven't actually died to any of these nodes because it's a very kind of well-defended character, and one that can recover extremely quickly. And I do owe that to the Inquisitor and his sort of style with the energy regen. So I'd look into that if you're thinking about some energy shield builds, because it just seemed so freaking good and strong for the sort of build towards regen and tanking as energy shield. And as well as that, you can see I did try out Spectral Throw a bit in the build once again. Venom Gyre served me very well. I never actually felt like I needed to swap out of Venom Gyre once I got it going, but I did of course try out some Spectral Throw, a few other things, and they're all pretty good. Spectral Throw is still very competitive, but I was really quite feeling Venom Gyre in this build, so I kept going with it, and I experimented a little bit more with the links. For the most part, I did have to try and get a white socket onto my chest, just so that it has a good piece of flexibility in one of the sockets at the very least, and that meant I could swap out crit strikes for damage on full life, or crit strikes for a volley, something like that. So a lot of the time when I was clearing, I was using both volley and fork, so that's 3 green gems in my chest, but a lot of the time I'd just be using fork and then crit strikes, because we really do need to fill out our crit somehow. So I'd recommend checking out the POB for any of the updates that the build has had over the past couple days. I also took it to my first 4-way Legion for the league after about a month of playing this game. On Blight League, I did get enough splinters to run this 4-way, which gets you a 5th map slot in your device, and it was a pretty good chunky piece of action for the 4-way. Not the biggest single target in the world for Venom Gyre. There's nothing really special about it for single target. It's just basically a default skill if you're not stacking poison or caring about the poison. But if you're this Hand of Wisdom and Action type of build, you can get a shitload of damage using any skill you want, even if they're not mechanically the greatest for single target. But the good thing about this one compared to, let's say, a Spectral Throw, it's got a very similar playstyle as well as that for single target. But for single target, you don't actually have to really be anywhere near anything. None of that matters. You can stand back, you can shoot from a distance, and you can be a very ranged character while getting the maximum amount of damage out of your skill without having to like position correctly like you might with a spectral throw, or plenty of other skills that require you to at least be up close and personal to the boss because you might have point blank. This character doesn't have point blank, and if you could get to it, then it's probably recommended, but we didn't end up getting there at all, so it's a very ranged character and playstyle if you want it to be. Now I will leave you guys with the Uber Elder kill. It was pretty clean, the very first one I did on this character. The Hand of Wisdom in Action character, definitely a playstyle I can recommend for you building into, but be prepared to craft a lot of your gear, which not really a bad thing. It's a lot of fun to craft the int stacking type of gear, and I really did quite enjoy this character and trying to figure out Venom Gyre for myself. So thank you very much for watching, and see you guys next time. It's pretty chunky damage, and it'll get better in a second. Now we're building up charges. Oh damn, golems are dead. Yeah, I don't think they got a chance of living in this fight, do they? Resummon them at least. See if they survive from here on out. I'll keep track of their health from now on. Oh. They're gonna die. No, they didn't die of that. Okay, that's fine. Burn down on them pretty well too. Okay, so they died of a laser beam. That seems to be the very reliable case of why golems die. They can tank some balls, but a laser beam? No. Oh, lag. Get away from the laser! Some stupid ass golem. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not a great skill for it, but Venom Gyre with this type of stuff, it's not too bad. Expected better dupes. I mean, it's Venom Gyre. Yes! My first duel. Rewarded. Ah! And it's god awful. Huh? It does nothing. Unless someone actually uses that haste mod, I don't think they would.